Pop's Whisper. And it's a story about the moment that I called my father by his first name. And I got to clear up one thing just now. My real name is Alden Doolittle, and Joe is a family nickname. And my father was Alden Doolittle. So this is the time that I remember calling my father by his first name, my first name. I grew up in a big old Victorian house in Stamford Heights, right here in the city of Schenectady. It's a big old place, and it was 2 acres of land and had apple trees and a little grape arbor and a big, big yard. And it had creaky stairs, and it had a 3rd-floor attic where we ran trains. It was a great place to be a kid. And I loved to read. And I loved not to go to bed. I would go to bed at the appointed hour, and then I would have whatever was the current book, and I would read that book. And my mother would go to bed, and she'd say, "Alden, turn off the light," and I would, and then I'd turn the light back on. And then if I was listening carefully, I could hear my dad go through the ritual of getting ready for bed. I could hear him fold up the paper and go to the refrigerator and get a glass of water. And then I could hear his foot creak on the first step, and I could turn that light off. Except when I didn't hear any of those telltale sounds. When I didn't hear those sounds, I got admonished. The door would open up a crack, and my father would say, "Alden, it's late. Shut off the light and go to bed." And I generally would. Although sometimes, as soon as I heard the toilet flush and the bed springs creak, I'd turn that light back on. Well, I was right in the middle of one of C.S. Forester's Captain Horatio Hornblower books. And what do you think? I heard him on the stairs, and I clicked the light off. It was a cold winter night. And I waited for him to go by my door and into the bathroom. But he stopped right at the top of the stairs. Then he came over, and I heard the doorknob turn, and it opened a crack, and I heard him whisper. He said, "Alden, are you awake?" "Oh, I know you're awake. I heard the light go off. If you're awake, join me in the hall. Quick, quick." Hey. So I feigned a little sleep and drowsy, and as soon as I opened that door, I was washed in kind of a neon green light, and the north-looking window at the head of that stairs was just glowing green and red and gold. It was the Aurora Borealis, and I had never thought it looked that gorgeous. It looked like 4th of July and Christmas wrapped up into one thing, and we stood right next to each other in that window right at the top of the stairs. And we didn't say a word. We just looked. And after precious time, he looked down at me because I only came up to halfway up his shoulder. And he said, "This is awesome. This is gorgeous. This is something we'll never forget. But we have work and school, and so I think it's good night, Alden." I looked up at him, and I said, "Well, good night, Alden." And I turned and I went down, and by the time I got into bed, the sheets had gotten cold, but it didn't matter. I snuggled down, and I felt really loved. You know, when I'm an old man now, I'm not 11 anymore, and I can snuggle down in my mind and hear that voice say, "Good night, Alden," anytime I need it. Thank you.